People. Welcome to Journey Through the Innerverse. I am happy to be here. This space right now is literally like my lifeline, is giving me life and nourishing me and supporting me to be here right now because we're moving through a portal. There's something going on.
For sure.
Yeah, so Alexis, you and I, of course, we've been talking before we actually hit record, but how are you? Like, let's just drop into this space and share.
I'm doing okay. I definitely feel and have been feeling just a heaviness lingering. Um, that I have some good days, some bad days, but we're just kind of moving through it. It's the only thing we can do. So I would say I'm doing okay. How are you?
It's been so heavy and wavy. It's like one day is good, one day is really heavy, and it's been like very extreme. It's really, I just don't know how to explain it. I mean, in my own personal life, also, what we're seeing in the external world has been just like nuts. And
Mhm.
it's like, what is really real? I'm really feeling this like Neptunian shift of like ending a cycle as we'll briefly share that with the cosmic climate, the astrology. Neptune is going to move into Aries and on Sunday, March 30th.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so it stays in a sign for essentially roughly about 14 years. And so it's been in Pisces for about 14 years, right? So I feel the shift, and we have Mercury retrograde moving back into Pisces. We have Venus retrograde moving back into Pisces. They're all going to like meet with Neptune this week. They're going to cross the nodes. And it's just like, there's like this exchange through the portals, and the portals, I'm really thinking about the North Node and Pisces. And then we have this eclipse, and I know you all feel
Mhm.
it. It's a lot. The dream space has been very active, and so in this episode we are going to just reflect on the previous lunar cycle. And I really wish, and I was planning to, and I forgot, I wanted to listen back to what was happening at that Pisces new moon. And forgive me, I don't
Mm.
have the date specifically. But yeah, I wish I would have went and listened back, because there has been so much that has happened as we are in eclipse season. And yeah, so it's a lot.
It is absolutely a lot. And this whole cycle has been so much different than the other cycles that we've talked about. There's definitely a heaviness that is coming through. Also, the aspect of our dreams being difficult to grasp and translate from our brain to verbal. Um, it's definitely been an interesting cycle. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, as I said, we're going to reflect on our dreams. We're going to pull some cards too. And yeah, if you are here watching live, or if you're watching the replay, feel free to share with us like how your dream space has been. Share through emojis, which is really fun. I posted in the chat what Alexis and I have been experiencing over this cycle. And I will say, I kind of already shared the astrology for this week, but I want to really point out that on, what is it, Thursday. So some of you will be listening to this after Thursday, but it goes through the whole weekend. But specifically, Thursday night and Friday night are going to be really active dream times, right? And so, as we're speaking right now, the moon is already in Pisces. And on the 27th, Venus will move back into Pisces, and she'll have that conjunction or alignment with Neptune. And then she'll connect with the moon the following day. But anyways, where I'm going with this is that this conjunction between Venus retrograde and Neptune, while the moon is present in Pisces, is going to be really powerful for our dream space, right? It's going to really stimulate that dream space. And then on the 28th, and a lot of this is happening in the morning, but some of it is also taking place during the day. The moon will be making a ton of connections while she's in Pisces. She'll connect with Mars. She'll make a trine to Mars, which is a harmonious connection. She will make a conjunction with Saturn. So she'll align with Saturn in Pisces. She will sextile Uranus. She will then connect with or move through the north node, right? So that portal. Then she'll connect with Venus and Neptune and then Mercury. And then she'll sextile, which is a supportive connection, Pluto and Aquarius. So she's literally
Ooh,
connecting with everyone on Friday, the 28th. And
wow.
then early in the morning on the 29th, which is Saturday, 6:57 a.m. Eastern time is the eclipse. And it's a solar eclipse in Aries. And then in the evening, Mercury retrograde will move into Pisces. And then the next day, 8 in the morning Eastern time, Neptune will move into Aries.
Wow.
So this is a very active dream time. And it's almost like March, or not almost, March is literally going out with a bang. Like this is wild. So really do your best to breathe. And I'm telling myself that right now because I felt a tightness in my abdomen.
I
It's like just getting
completely got
all
the
of that out.
same feeling too. It's
It's
just
just
like,
like
okay.
holding on. And just have grace and patience and just check in with your own energy, because with all of this Piscean energy, it's hard to know whose energy is what. There's a lot of blending, there's a lot of interactions and energy exchanges. And so you want to be clear about your own energy, be clear about your intentions, and don't be surprised if your dreams are reflecting the collective consciousness, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's the emotion, the scenes, like whatever's coming forth. This is a really transformative time.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's what I wanted to share for that.
it is that what I'm curious to how next week we're gonna feel.
Right. And yeah. And it's the thing that is a little bit frustrating, I'll admit, that I don't really like thinking about, but we know beginnings are really important, and energies and intentions, like, at the beginning of a cycle is important. And so, yes, this solar eclipse is the last eclipse in the pair, right, for eclipse season. However, it's a new moon. So it's almost like it's setting the tone for this lunar cycle. And so it will probably still be pretty intense this coming, cycle. So just keep that in mind. If it feels like you are overwhelmed and you can't catch a break, and it's like, well, we're out of eclipse season. Well, yeah, Mercury's still retrograde, Venus is still retrograde, and this moon is setting the tone for the way this cycle is going to unfold and what we're going to be, what's going to be revealed, as well as what's going to be released on that other end. So the best thing you could do, again, is I'm telling everyone to meditate every day, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just drop in and be quiet for like 5 minutes and connect with your body. Where are the sensations? What's coming up for you? Right? If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling some sort of emotion, is it even yours? Or observe the space around you. But just really do those energy checks and those psychic checks, because it's really going to be a lot in the field. And we're already feeling that. So I don't have to tell you guys.
No, you're right on the money with that. I mean, if there's anything that'll help us move through this easier, it'll be finding some silence.
Right. All right. So we're going to, Alexis, we'll start with you and dream sharing. And I want to just call to the emojis that you shared, or that I shared in the chat. And so I'll remind you, it was the crow
Mm-hmm.
and the shooting star, a water, like a wave, an ocean wave, the evil eye, and a broken heart. So do you want to share a little bit about that, any of those, or why you chose those ones?
Absolutely. This lunar cycle has been, I mean, perplexing. Um, Half of the time, if not more, I was unable to pull my visualization of the dream out and speak it. I was unable to sit and really truly reflect in the way that I wanted to. There was a chunk of nights where I didn't remember anything at all. And then the dreams that I have been having, that I've been really involved in and have been having an impact, are very to the point with their messages.
Mm-hmm.
And like a band-aid, like ripping a band-aid off. The dreams have been not very long, extremely filled with messages. I feel this inner awakening. I feel a self reflection, an unconscious self reflection, lessons being pushed to the forefront of my brain, things that I need to address in order to move through this portal of my own and have personal growth. I feel like the hidden messages, the spark, the emotions, I've been extremely like uh, my emotions have been extremely up and down with these dreams, and a lot of heartbreak. Like I've been enduring in my dream space a lot of hurt, emotional hurt. So that's where I've been at right now, and it is I'm definitely understanding. I'm definitely, you know, following that pool and really sitting with these experiences and addressing with myself what I need to be doing to move through and how to continue forward, and even if that requires doing nothing in certain situations, it's been a lot. So I have a couple dreams that I want to share.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to talk about your emojis and then go into that?
Yeah, we'll just flow with yours and then
Okay.
mine. Yeah.
All right. So one of the dreams I had towards the beginning of this most recent cycle was that I was in this apartment building, in an apartment, and it was a high up apartment in like New York City. Huge, huge ceilings. I mean, this place was enormous, but it was cold. Like it had a very brutalist design, a lot of concrete, and a lot of the concrete was smashed. Some of the floors were smashed,
Mm-hmm.
and parts of the walls were smashed. And it was freezing, and I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. And my attention was split up in three ways. On one hand, I was with two people who were physically fighting the entire time. I mean, just attacking each other brutally.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't seem to have like it almost was like they were kind of like respawning, because they would attack each other brutally, but no one would really get hurt. And that was one perspective. And it was in this side of my experience. It was so weird the way it was split up. The other side, it was a man, but every time I looked at him, I could only see him from the corner of my eye, walking towards a door. And every time I would turn my head to look at him, everything would shift back to the corner of my eye. So I couldn't actually look at him. It was very, very bizarre. And then my other focus within that dream was this orange cat. And it was sitting in the middle of the room, licking its arm, cleaning itself. And that's kind of where I was drawn. And every time I would go to get close to the cat, it would attack me. And it attacked me multiple times. I don't know why I kept trying. But now I also want to just preface that I'm experiencing all of these things at once. So it was really overstimulating. So it's like if you had the TV on in one side of the room, you had somebody talking to you next to you, and then you had the radio on behind you. That's how it felt. So it was just really intense. the last time I went to approach the cat and it attacked me. So it attacked me, I kind of recoiled and it like looked at me with like piercing eyes and um basically started talking directly to me. It was in like a British accent. And
The
he
cat.
basically was like, yeah. And he
Mm.
basically was telling me that there was a certain way that I had to approach him and a certain thing that I had to do in order to like not be attacked. Um,
Mm. Wow.
I said something in some other like a dead language and gave him something that I don't remember what I gave him. And he let me pet him. And that was that dream.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
Fun.
then I woke up and that dream was really it was really stressful. It was a very stressful dream. I mean, as you can imagine, sensory wise, it was a freaking
Yeah.
nightmare. Like it wasn't a nightmare, but like sensory wise, I if oh god, I would never be able to manage that. But it definitely had an impact.
Mm. Yeah, I think so. There were two things that stood out to me. Well, actually three, but the smash concrete just that stood out to me as like the breaking of a foundation. Like some was together, some was smashed. And then with the cat, that to me felt like the cat was like a teacher for you, like being a teacher in the moment of basically how to hold boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Especially it's like the fact that it had a British accent for whatever reason to me, like a cat with a British accent sounds sophisticated or like it would be like this wise teacher and like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it's like a Harry Potter thing. I don't know. Like, you know how they shape
No,
shift.
I completely get the same
So,
thing.
and especially it was like, okay, this is the rules. Like it was definitely kind of this like Saturnian teacher type energy where it's like, this is if you want this, this is what you got to do to get it. And you followed the, you know, the guidance and, you know, and then you got what you wanted. And so I feel like it was also, you know, and obviously this is my perspective, not saying that this is what it means, but it just
Mm-hmm.
feels like, okay, like this is how you hold boundaries, right? And this is how you guide or, you know, and saying it in a way that is like, you know, firm, but also, you know, I can't say if he's being compassionate, but you get what I'm saying. So, and then the other thing was just like the split felt like some sort of duality or just like a changing, yeah, I don't know, it just seems like everything's kind of changing, like it's split, you're going from one thing to the other. Ooh, my cat digging her nails into
Speaking
my
of which,
leg. I'm just like, right?
no, it
So
was
yeah.
I completely get that. And you know, with the cat too, for me it almost felt like a key. Like it was a key to addressing wounds that I've had walls up against myself
Yeah.
and like not being able to move through them. It almost felt like a key because I have noticed that I've been able to feel my emotions a little bit more lately.
Mhm.
And I'm acknowledging hurt um, better. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not great with it, but I'm learning how to hold space for myself and my emotions and things that I've experienced and allowing myself to acknowledge and let go, acknowledge and let go. And even though there's a part of me that's always going to hold on a little bit to these experiences, like it's feeling like weight off my shoulders.
Mhm.
Um, the thing that was interesting about it to me was this I can't even say positively that it was a man, but it's just this shadow being that I could never quite get a view of. And I don't know if that would be considered like in my own way an aspect of myself that is being neglected or a aspect of myself that's still trying to be malicious towards me.
Yeah.
um Especially because right now I'm in a really big struggle with myself. um And I feel like that could really be me trying to keep an eye on my, like, being malicious towards myself, doing things, thinking things that aren't really truly aligned with where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that dream certainly had quite an impact, and you can see how there's a lot of message. It wasn't a long dream, but there was a lot of messages to decode, like, in that period of time. Um, and to me, very, to the point.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because I felt like you definitely answered the question, because my first thought in my mind was like, is it an aspect of you that you're starting to get sight of? Or do you like, that was what I was going to gauge. Like, did it feel like it was like it could be a part of you? Or did it feel like, oh, something kind of like mysterious in a way of like suspicious? Like, it's like, yeah. Because I was
Kind of
kind of getting
both.
a bit of both. Yeah, that's what I was
Kind
going to
of
say. I was
both.
getting a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was a dream that I had in the beginning of, like, towards the beginning of the cycle, which kind of laid out a great representation. But as I've gotten closer to the end of this cycle, it seems to have been getting a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
Um, I have had dreams of people dying lately, which has been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the dreams that I had is reunion. So the dream was interesting because it was like I was, it was like I was looking down at another plane of existence, like honing in on another species or families or whatever's like living, and I'm above on another plane looking down, and it
Mm,
has the house, so like you can't see the roof but you can see what's inside,
yeah.
and I'm focusing and I'm paying close attention to what's happening, and then all of a sudden, um people that I haven't seen in a while walk into my plane, and somebody I care about deeply who I haven't seen in a couple of years runs up to me and hugs me and squeezes me and like picks me up, and it was incredible. And it was, I mean, I was lucid so I could feel everything, and it was like my heart was warm and I was just full of joy. And um that lasted for a little bit, and then it transitioned to me being at the top of a roller coaster, getting in to the cart with, like, my dad was there. That was the most significant. Like, everybody else was kind of more blurred. But I had this baby, and I was kind of sitting on the coaster with this baby in my hand, like, the fuck am I doing on a coaster with a baby? And my dad was like, no, let's go, come on, let's get on and go. And I'm like, I'm gonna I'm gonna get off. And I got off the coaster and I had this baby, and I was like, I don't know where this child came from, but I'm not going to put them in danger by going on this ride that really I didn't want to be on anyway. Um, and the coaster went off, and it was just me with this child. And it was the weirdest combination of experiences. And then I woke up. But what was more so a highlight and a low light was having this person who I love and care about have contact with me and hug me and be excited to see me, and then waking up and back to the reality of not being able to see them, and
Yeah.
it just breaking my heart. And that's been consistent in my dreams lately, is just my heart breaking from one reason or the next.
Mm,
um
mhm.
but yeah, it's I feel like it's very evident, that heaviness is very evident. It's just a lot.
Yeah,
But
that's oh, sorry.
no, I just say, but that's, dream, paying
Yeah.
attention to your dreams and being within the dream space is not always going to be great.
Yeah.
but that's a part of the lessons that we need to learn and
Yeah.
how to move through them. I realize that with my dreaming, I can conjure up someone who I love deeply and have them in, if not the waking space, at least a visitor in my dreaming space. And that is something that I can hold with my heart, especially because there's nothing I can do in the meantime in the physical realm. So, you know,
Yeah, it's one of the themes that has been coming through too is, which this sounds wrong, but I'm like, oh, I do like that you put the heartbreak, which, yes, the heartbreak, that is painful. Obviously, it doesn't represent something that feels good. And looking at it from a different perspective and not necessarily that from that for that reason of a heartbreak, but just the act of like the heart opening. And
yeah.
that's been a major theme this lunar cycle. I literally have been, like I was telling Alexis today, or the past couple of days, just like crying for, I wouldn't say for no reason, but it wasn't something that I could, well, I have a few things I can point to, but it wasn't in that very moment, like triggering me. It was just
Yeah.
like, I feel this release.
A
And
natural release.
right. And then there's been just a lot of focus on, especially around that Virgo full moon, I felt like so much, like even just wanting to like do this, like expand my chest. Like I've noticed when I've been sleeping too, interestingly enough, that we're talking about dreams, like usually I'll sleep like this, but then lately I will sleep like just expanding myself and not like
Mm-hmm.
contracting myself in a way. And I know like sleeping on your back, which I do every so often, like that is like such a vulnerable position, right? Because your chest is open and it's exposed, right? And your heart is open. And so, yes, that heartbreak emoji is really like sad to see. But the way I'm looking at it just in this very moment, I'm like, yeah, our hearts are opening. Like we're breaking our hearts open. We're
Mm-hmm.
softening. We're being more vulnerable. We're very emotional. And so this is, yeah, it
It's
can,
good.
yeah, it's
It
good. Like
doesn't
we gotta
feel good
feel, it
right
doesn't feel,
now, but it's
yeah,
going to be exponentially better as time moves forward, because if you continuously stuff your emotions down and ignore it and contract and turn into a pill bug and just stay in this cocoon, keeping yourself safe but not evolving and not growing and not having these insights come through, you're not going to move further down this tunnel. And you know all things said, this is a difficult time. So if you feel like you need to talk to anybody about your dream space, you are more than welcome to DM us on Instagram or send us a email to our email account, theinnerversepodcast@gmail.com. I say that with a question mark, but
yeah, no, that's right.
okay, cool.
You make me feel good because I'm always checking. I'm like, the,
Always, it's just such a funny thing. But
yeah,
seriously, this is heavy. Message
yes.
us with dreams if you need help with interpretation or guidance or just need an outlet. We're here to support you.
Yeah. And even if, if it's too hard to, if it's a lot to write, because I know sometimes we've had this conversation before about dreams where it's like hard to put into words. And sometimes it's, you can voice it, but you can't like, for whatever reason, you can't literally like type it out or write it. Also feel free on our Instagram profile to send us a voice message. Like you can totally send us a
Yep,
DM with a voice message and we will respond. So yeah, this is a very, very heavy time. And so the dream space is going to, bring that up.
absolutely. So how has your dream space? Do you want to talk about your emojis?
Yeah. So I posted the snake, the twinkle star, the emoji where it's like the crying. Like sometimes you don't know if it's like crying, bawling, crying, or crying from laughing. But
Yep.
on YouTube, it picked up what I was putting down, which was bawling, crying. And then there was I put the emoji of like the lip, like this, like Yeah, so that one and then the blue spiral.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was like putting in my emojis and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm totally like copying Alexis. I wasn't, but it was just funny to see the animal, the stars, and like the emotional emojis. And so yeah, this has been a really emotional time. And what I've noticed that lately I've been doing, or for this whole lunar cycle, I've been posting on Instagram, on our Instagram profile, the lunar phases in reference to the dreams and kind of what you can expect, or how the moon phase will reflect or impact your dreams. And as I've been writing those, I see that pretty much instantaneously like happen in my dream. And I took the notes pretty much beforehand, and then I'll like post when the moon, hits that phase. And so I was having a really difficult time. I want to say it was Sunday or Monday, and the moon she reached her waning crescent phase in Aquarius on Tuesday, yesterday. And I'm like posting, I'm like getting the post set up, and it was just talking about like these seated emotions coming up, your deepest fears coming up, and connections with ancestors, and just like basically these deeper layers are being revealed. And that it literally was what I was experiencing. And I had a really intense dream. I think it was like the day before. And then I was making that post, and it just made me feel better in an interesting way. Cause I'm like, okay, this is not like my subconscious being mean or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's the flow. I'm in flow with the
Mm-hmm.
celestial energies, with the moon cycle. And so that was really nice to see. I would say my most impactful or just profound dream experience this cycle was the lucid dream experience I had. That was probably um, guided by my grandmother, or definitely she was there, not physically, but like in the whole dynamic of the dream. And I haven't had a lucid dream in a couple months, I would say. And it was perfect timing because it was last week. It was Saturday because Sunday, I had a dream class on lucid dreaming. It was like 101. And so I woke up basically Sunday morning, actually, and with a lucid dream, or had that experience Sunday morning. And I was so excited because that's happened a lot on the podcast when Alexis and I will have a certain topic, like either one of us or both of us will like have a dream. Like, so we have
Yep.
fresh experience, and it's just like, oh, this is great. So basically, to keep it short, I had this lucid dream experience, and I was very anxious in the dream. The dream was like really, it was already anxious before I realized I was dreaming. And mainly because it was one of those dreams. It was a work dream. At first, I was in like a plant shop, but it was also kind of like a Walmart. And then it transitioned into like a restaurant atmosphere, which most of my work dreams are like me in a restaurant, and I call them restaurant nightmares. And it was interesting because with my transition from working in restaurants, and then I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm going to focus on spirituality or like my passion projects full time. I then started working in greenhouses and apothecaries like part time, in addition to doing my, professional work as an astrologer and a reader and spiritual mentor. And so it was interesting. I haven't really had dreams where I've worked in plant shops because that's not really an anxious experience. But in the dream, overall, it was an anxious vibe. And so when I realized I was dreaming, I was very conscious about not changing the environment, even though I'm just like, oh, this sucks. This is so boring. And so I asked the dream, and I was like, because I was trying to go with it for literally, it felt like 10 minutes, but I'm sure it was like 1 minute. And I was like, oh, because I'm looking at the side work chart, and just like the responsibilities I had to do while working to prepare me to close at the end of the night. And I'm like, this is so boring. Like, and so I asked the dream, what is the purpose of this? Can you tell me like what I need to know, like with this dream? Why am I here? And the dream itself And it was different because I've had a response where it seemed like something like more of like a narrator, or like I call the sky god, where it's like this really powerful voice outside of the dream will respond. This time it was inside the dream, and it felt like it was like behind me. And it was very like quiet. And it was just regular. It was nothing like, and it basically told me to listen to the song. And I didn't recall a song playing before that, but then after that was said, I could start to hear it fade in. And it was a country song, and the country song was basically the words that I did hear was essentially finding my way home. That was like that was the only thing I heard, like, was finding my way home, repeat it, and there was a melody, and it definitely had it was a country song. Like in the dream I was like, oh, I knew it was a country song. And so that happened, and then I started to just explore and observe. And I was still in this, I had a freak out moment, because when I heard the song, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I was like, wait, no, I don't want to die, like finding my way home, like, no. Because that is my thing, right? Like one of my subconscious fears, but is very conscious actually. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. And so there was already more fear in the dream. And so then I just started observing, and then I'm looking, and there's like a pile of just junk, but it's like neatly organized basically. And I looked, and the first thing I saw was a picture of what I thought was like a tombstone, but it was like all white. Like it was, yeah, it was like white and gray or whatever, but it was like heavenly white. But then when I looked closer, it was like church bells. And I'm like, okay. And then I looked down like towards the floor, and there was a mirror, and I was like, oh, there's a mirror. I'm going to look in it. And I look in it, and there was a very pale woman. It definitely was not me. It didn't feel like me. But it was basically, if you've ever seen the movie The Ring, it was the girl that basically came out of the TV. Very pale, very long, dark hair, matted hair. Well, actually, I don't know if it was matted. I don't remember that, but and very like dark eyes. Like there was like basically no eyes. And I was like, ooh. And I kind of just like, all right, I'm not looking at that again. And I'm like getting bored. And I looked to my left, and there was an opening, basically, like a kind of like an archway, and then it led to a hallway. And so I knew someone was coming. I could feel them. And I was like, oh, is this going to be my grandmother? Because this was also the day I had the dream was the 21st anniversary of my grandmother's passing, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like expecting to see her, even though I didn't go to bed with like, oh, I'm going to see her in my dreams, but I was expecting to see her. It wasn't her. It was just someone random. And then I was like, okay, I'm changing this. Like, can we change the environment? And I wasn't really specific. And so what happened was, like, basically the dream went black, and I felt like I was in this, like I felt myself moving kind of through like a wormhole or something, or like the void, maybe like a portal. And then there was like a Cheshire cat, like, mouth, but it was like no teeth, and it was all blue. But it felt sinister. And so then I just woke myself up. And I was really, let me tell you guys, I was really annoyed and kind of pissed about this dream. I was like, man, it was lucid, and this is what I got. And it completely, as the day unfolded, it like so many reveals happen. I Googled the song, or I searched the song on Spotify. I just put Finding My Way Home country song, and I got the song, and I just knew intuitively. I was like, no, this is it. It was like, I'm pretty sure it was the only option anyways. And I listened to it, and the words were all about basically, um not the woman didn't really like where she was coming from in the past, like she was reflecting in the past. And she was just like, I don't really like where I'm coming from, but I'm going to trust, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And the song was all about her traveling in a car, like on a highway, and it's like, I'm finding my way back home, and I'm going to be just positive, and I'm enjoying the journey. Like it was literally about enjoying the journey, and not worried about like where you're coming from, not worrying about the past, and not worrying about, where you're going,
Mhm.
essentially. And it was such like, I don't even like country music really. Like I like Shania Twain and older things like that,
I
but
love Shania Twain.
um yeah, this was like, and I was that whole day, I was like listening to it, and I was like bouncing to it. And then by the end of the day, I was like bawling to it. And there were so many synchronicities. Like when I was listening to it in the car, a little bit later that day going, and this was after I taught the class and everything, and I was going to run errands, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, is this actually the song? Like, is this a message? And I looked as I was thinking that, and I saw on the mailbox 111, it was someone's house number. And then I got to Trader Joe's and I just happened to look, I'm leaving Alexis a message. And then I see the sign dreams, and it was like sweet, like Suite dreams. It was a mattress store. And I go to this Trader Joe's all the time and I never noticed that. And it just so happened I'm leaving Alexis a voice note about this dream. And then I see dreams. And it was just so many little synchronicities. And then it wasn't until Alexis pointed it out that, like, I mean, hello, it's my grandmother's anniversary of her death. And like, what are the odds, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, she's definitely very close to you. And she is like, this is her, right? This is this
Oh,
connection and the healing.
100%.
So yeah, that was like the most profound dream experience. And it really encompassed like the grief, the anxiousness, the fear, but also like coming out of it, I just felt like so, by the end of the day, I felt so high. It was like the best dream experience I've had in a long time. So that
Yeah,
was amazing.
it was such an incredible dream, and I love that you were like bored in the dreams. Like it's so funny because like there's so many messages through it, but you're just like, what is this? Why am I here? Like, what is going on?
Like, I need
And
to
just like
know.
moving through it, it's so funny because when you look back on it, I mean, even from the beginning, like you were in a plant shop somewhere you feel comfortable, and then it transitioned to a restaurant where you don't feel quite as comfortable anymore and would probably prefer not to work at a restaurant. But it's that transition of like, well, this is something you enjoy, so maybe we'll do like a bait and switch.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give you something that you like to keep you kind of engaged, and then kind of rip it out from under you. So, but you'll be less likely to leave the dream because you already had that little hint of joy.
Yeah.
And the fact that too, like, I think the dream voice could have been like, if not your grandmother, like representation of your grandmother, especially the fact that it wasn't the narrator's like booming loud voice that you normally get. It was quiet, it was regular, it was guiding you. And I feel like that guidance, I mean, you are at a point right now in your life where the integration of your life and her life are going to bring you to a completely different level, and like she's right there with you along with it. The finding my own way home, and like how, oh, it like gives me the chills
Car.
thinking
I
about
mean,
it.
just
It gives me
the fact
the
that
chills.
the whole dream was about cars. And for those of you
Yes.
who don't know, that is, the car is like literally, it's one of my main dream symbols. My birth name was, or is, Portia. I was literally named after a car. And like my whole transformation of coming into the essence of who I am and merging with my higher self came about through my dreams of cars, having several dreams in cars. So to have like this song that I was meant to pay attention to, and it's all around traveling in a car, was
Yes.
it's just like, wow, you really did not make this up. It's crazy.
No, seriously. And then immediately, like your lucid self having the fear of dying.
Mm-hmm.
And how that's reflected in picking up this photo where at first you see it as this glowing like white tombstone that then transitions to church bells, which that makes you think of like the sadness of death, but then also just this new beginning in a way. This like I don't know, there's something very joyous about hearing church bells. Like, I'm not religious, I don't go to church, but when I hear the church bells going, like I get
Yeah, it needs to be
excited.
every
Like,
day.
it's something that brings you happiness, and it's
Yeah.
almost like even the mirror, the reflection of this horrifying woman, like aspects of yourself that you might be afraid of,
Safety
fears that you
fears.
have to
Yeah.
come into, you know just facing. And then of course this dark place, this portal with the Cheshire Cat smile. I know that it felt scary, but what is the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland? A guide giving
Yeah. I
direction.
love the treasure cat and Alex.
And I think that represents how scary
Yeah.
these next few months, years, however long, are going to be, but how important it is to move in the direction.
Yeah. And just enjoy the journey, you know. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's interesting because with the voice, I didn't really like in that moment, like when I had the dream and everything, it was weird. It was like, it felt kind of like me, but I just didn't really like, I was like, it wasn't what I'm used to hearing. But when I was sharing it here and I was like describing where it was coming from and everything, I thought that too. I was like, oh, that probably was my grandmother.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really interesting, even like, so with the church bells, I thought about weddings, and union, and just like with my work, I've been thinking about this, recently, like as of yesterday, and it just really is integrating. But it's like, I've started even looking at, just studies and perspectives around consciousness and like with the meditation and that literally when I was thinking about it, I was like, that's all my grandmother. Like she was getting her PhD in psychology, clinical psychology. And she was really into dreams and recorded her dreams. She was journaling and she was like, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is definitely her, I'm sure my soul, I'm intrigued by it too. But it's really interesting how there is a merging of our disciplines. Like with me, it's more of like the stars and the celestial energy, and with her it was like the consciousness and the mind. And so it's like I'm
And
just having
also
to figure
the
out how.
integration and union of you moving in the direction of like really diving into her
Journals. Yeah.
personal stuff, you
Yeah.
know? It is, I mean, it's I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
I really am, because it's so, I mean, who can say that their relative was extremely engaged in dreaming the same way that you are, and how
Yeah.
that's a source of connection and bridging the waking realm with the wake or with the sleeping realm, but also like bridging the relationships between you two with dream work. And even though she's not here like with you physically, she's here, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's just
Why?
powerful.
Especially because it's like my soul knew, because I didn't really heal. Like I started healing the relationship with her, and then I started like paying attention to my dreams. But one of the main reasons why I was so kind of like, this is a no go, like it's a forbidden territory with like paying attention to my dreams like that, was because she was always there. And I just like, every time I was present with her in the dreams, it was really hard. And so
Yeah.
it's just so interesting how it came like completely full circle, and it's like a whole dynamic. And so I mean, yeah. So
It's
that's
amazing.
yeah. But it's interesting because so I had that most profound moment, and then um with this week, as I was mentioning, as far as like the deep shadows and fears, and it's like I talked about this earlier on Instagram, where it's like you feel that you've healed some stuff, like you're like, I'm doing all this work, I've done a lot of healing around this, and then boom, another layer is peeled away and there's another major reveal. And you're like, yo, I thought I was done with this. Like, what? And so, there's always something. It's like, yeah. And so I just, if that's happening to you, if you're experiencing that, which we all do from time to time, again, you're not crazy. And this is the flow of the energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally wax and wane, excuse me. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. And with the spirals and the shooting or the twinkle star, is just for me, that represents the synchronicities, and also just the evolution of our experience, through our dreams and through life, how it is like an up and a down, but then there's this expansion, right? And so instead of going in a loop, it's a spiral, and we just continue to learn and grow and experience, and we're expanding ourselves and expanding our consciousness. And I felt that very strongly during this lunar cycle. And I mean, it's was initiated by Pisces, so of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm like, we got everything, all of it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And
All the
it really shows you how resilient we are.
yeah,
When we're in times like this, I always think of the Wheel of Fortune,
yeah,
because what goes up must come down, and what's down has to go back up.
yeah,
It's always cycling, and we're not going to be in these really intense, hard, quote unquote, bad times for long before we get back to being on a high. It's just how life is. And you learn a lot.
yeah,
Definitely learn a lot if you're
yes,
open to it.
yes. And so, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pull some cards. And if you guys are listening to the replay, or if you're still here, I know there's a couple of you watching. And yes, if you feel called, if you want to share, pop in the chat, or pop in, if you're listening afterwards, pop in the comment section, just some emojis that describe how your dream space has been, either, this week or the past couple weeks, whatever you can recall, whatever you're feeling right now, you can definitely share that with us. And yeah, so let's go ahead and pull some cards. Are you doing tarot, right, from your deck?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have been doing. I've been pretty much doing just this one deck for since I got it. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, you go first since you're
Okay.
doing tarot. I'm gonna do an oracle, so we'll see just like what the follow-up message is from your message.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And no rush, you can take your time.
I'm gonna see how I feel and just kind of go with my intuition with that. What a wonderful chat, by the way.
Hmm?
I feel a lot lighter. I
I
feel
do
like
too. I
I
needed
feel
this today.
I really needed this, and
Right.
I'm so thankful every day, well, every week, to come on here and have a conversation with
Yeah,
you. And it's fantastic.
I
Okay,
enjoy it too.
so what did we get? We got the messenger.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Message.
And I love this imagery. I mean, it is just so beautiful and profound. And it just, oh God, I
Is
love
that
this
a
deck so
major
much.
arcana or is
Yep,
it
it's a major arcana. It's
okay,
number
cool.
5 in the deck. So let me go ahead and pull that up.
Hmm.
Okay. So this card is a Earth card. It's ruled by the planet Venus, and it is under the sign of Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
messenger symbolizes guidance, wisdom, and spiritual communication. Associated with Earth, Venus, and Taurus, it represents the grounding of divine messages and connection between the spiritual and the material world. Proceeding from the clouds, which signifies ambition and the unknown of new paths, the messenger brings clarity and insight.
Yeah.
Keywords are guidance, wisdom, and crossing a threshold.
Oh,
The messenger signifies the arrival of guidance and wisdom. This card encourages seeking and sharing knowledge, grounding divine messages in practical ways, and being open to receiving and delivering important truths.
mm,
Wow. That if every single time it's like dead on
yeah.
with its I mean, I feel like that spoke for itself. I don't even really need to say anything.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, well, thank you guys. I'm gonna share your emojis here in a sec. We got some comments in the chat.
Ooh, I'm excited.
One's a new name I haven't seen. So,
Welcome
okay,
in,
we're just
guys.
gonna feel into this. And this is pretty much what we, are needing to know, or the message for this lunar cycle. And oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say with the insight. Oh my goodness, I feel that so that's really important. I feel with Neptune moving into Aries, like guiding us to our inner being, right? Our subconscious, like that divine, you know, wisdom within us. especially because Neptune tends to make things confusing and blurry, and it has you questioning reality. And so in order to just gain your own personal direction and your sense of clarity, going within, doing the inner work, meditating, paying attention to your dreams, having it not, and not only that, but like having a conversation with
Yes.
your dreaming self or your subconscious or your inner being, whatever you call it, that's what you really want to connect with, because no one knows you better than that source, because
No,
that's your own unique connection.
100%. You know yourself better than anybody else. And in order to understand yourself deeper, you have to listen to the messages that you receive. It's it changes the way that you move through life once you understand more about yourself and you take all of these unconscious messages with you to the conscious and integrate them into your life. It's just, I have no words to describe how wonderful it is. Difficult, but
Wow.
wonderful.
So I'm using a new deck. I just got a new deck, an Oracle deck
Ooh,
that I've been wanting for
exciting.
a while, and I've been questioning if I wanted to keep it because I'm just funny like that. Um, because there are some cards that, anyways, doesn't matter. Here we are in the moment, Urania. We don't need all the details, but this is on point. So actually the cards have always been on point. So, this is number one, entering the mystery. Can you see that there?
Ooh. Oh, oh
So we
yeah.
have a dove, we have Isis, Nephthys, and Nekbet, Mother Moot. I'll just show you the names there.
Look at how beautiful that imagery is.
So this is actually a integration of four different cards that are already in the deck. And this is, yeah, so I'm going to just read. Like I said, this is a new deck. This is probably like my fourth or fifth time pulling a card from it. And now seeing this, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm keeping the deck. So for those of you watching the video, here is the cover, the Anubis Oracle. It's really cool.
It's, yeah, that's awesome.
Um, let's see where we are.
I like that it gives you a little bit of a bigger deck or a bigger book.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, these are the composite cards, which I'm going to call the integrated cards. So the dove represents the petitioner who is questioning through the Anubis Oracle. The innocent, trusting dove flies to meet Mother Moot after offering the olive branch to the elder alchemist. The dove gains permission to enter into the shamanic mysteries of Egypt. Nephthys and Isis form the sacred archway through which the dove must pass to go deeper into the heart of Egypt and her mysteries. If you've drawn this card, consider how your current life situation reflects the actions of the gods pictured here. Something new and perhaps sorry, let me say that again. Something new and perhaps surprising is happening in your life, requiring you to take a chance or plunge deeply into the unknown. You have all the support and guidance that you need.
Wow.
Okay. So there's that portal
It
there.
just speaks for itself. It's like, wow.
Oh, we're gonna have to post these to
Oh,
Instagram.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, we don't really need to say we've touched on a lot of this, and there's many shifts happening. And as I mentioned, Mars did not or Mars. Wow. Okay. March did not disappoint. And there's a lot to integrate, and we're moving through this portal. So yeah,
Onward and upwards.
yeah, we got this. So Richard says, peace and love, friends. Been here listening and doing work. Super heavy week for me too. Prayer hands and the peace sign emojis. So thank you so much, Richard, for saying hello. And yeah, just holding space and sending you all the positive light vibes I can
Absolutely.
during this period. And, you follow us on Instagram. So, you know, if you ever want to reach out, definitely don't hesitate to do so. So the next comment is from Rosie Tree Wisdom, and I haven't seen this name before. So their emojis are the recycling sign. So it's like, you know, but
Yep.
it's not in the usual like horizontal recycling. It's like vertical, which I don't know. Maybe it's YouTube, but that just stood out to me. I'm like, oh, it's a little bit different. Just
Interesting.
two arrows moving in a cycle.
Huh.
Then the pizza, then there's the snake, and then there's a lady with a magnifying glass, like an investigator or
Oh,
explorer. I
I would
love
love to
that.
hear more
That's
about
really cool,
that.
right? Right? Just that combination together is like really
Yeah.
interesting. So I'm like, that's cool. Awesome. Well, I think that's all we have. And oh, I just want to share that on this coming Tuesday, April 1st, is our donation-based dream circle. It is a small group and we meet online via Zoom. And we just share about dreams, whatever questions you have, whatever topics you want to talk about, or just if you want to share your dreams, this is the space to do it. And we're now doing it monthly, so once a month. So this is going to be the meeting for April. So they're the first Tuesday of every month. So we would love to have you join us.
Yes, and if you don't mind, I'm going to insert my thing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, this Sunday, March 30th, I will be teaching a dream work class. It's like an intro to dream work class at Gaia's Gifts in Washington, New Jersey. It's going to be from 1 to 3. I'm very excited. I have a whole thing planned out. I'm going to give you a little bit of history, tell you a little bit about myself, give you some information about integration, integrating your dreams with your waking space. And my goal is to inspire you to, you know, include dreaming into your life a little more frequently if you don't already. So yeah, come by and yeah, I hope to see you there.
We'll put the like the link to the website in the description of this video, and also
Yeah.
on Spotify in the show notes. We'll put those there too if you want to check that out. Also, one more announcement, as you just reminded me, on April 6th, I am going to be teaching an online dream class. This is I call it the Dreamer's Quest, Journey into the Inner Self. And essentially in this class, I share my 28-day practice in reference to dream work and how to align your dream cycle and your journaling and record keeping with essentially the cycle of the moon, how to develop that practice and the benefits of doing that. So that's going to be virtual online, and it's on April 6th from 2 p.m. Eastern time to 4. So all of that information and the links and everything are in the description of this video. So with that said, I think we're finally done. And thank you everyone for tuning in, listening to the replay, sharing, engaging, just being present with your energy. We really enjoy it and appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
Okay. Wow, that was really good.
That was so good. I can't even the